New Landing's Job Chat is brought to you in part by the Prosperity Advisory Group, the next step in your financial future, and by the EBS Group with an unparalleled background in Oracle solutions and services.
Do you have an idea for a business? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Is there training for this? The answer is the Kauffman Foundation FastTrac program, and you're going to learn about it here today on Job Chat. My name is Hector Silva. My co-host is Don Apple.
Hi, Hector.
Don, as a NASCAR fan, you're used to a lot of fast tracks.
Yes, I like fast tracks, but this fast track takes on a whole new meaning.
Well, our guest today is Alana Muller.
Alana Muller is president of Kauffman FastTrac. She has a master's degree in business administration from the University of Chicago, is actively involved in the community, and serves on the boards of the Jewish Community Center, the Jewish Community Foundation, the Women's Division of the Jewish Federation of Greater Kansas City, and the Smith College Alumni Association of Greater Kansas City. Alana, welcome to Job Chat.
Well, thanks for having me.
Welcome, Alana.
Thank you.
What is FastTrac and how long has it been around?
FastTrac was actually started many years ago. We've been in business for almost 2 decades. It was actually created by some professors out of the University of Southern California in the late 1980s. And the founder of the Kauffman Foundation, Ewing Kauffman, learned about this program. Now, what it was at the time was these 2 individuals in California saw what was going on in the city of Los Angeles, which was essentially poverty, violence, and unrest, really generated as a result of the economic downturn at the time and of unemployment. And so they said, we have to be able to do something about this. And so their answer at the time, although they didn't call it this, was entrepreneurship. They thought if we can empower people to put themselves back to work, to create their own jobs, then we can be successful in turning around our economy. So at the time they created what was a one-day program. Mr. K, as he was affectionately known, learned about this program and said, you know, the people of Kansas City could use this as well. In the early 1990s, he actually brought the one-day program to Kansas City. And I have to tell you a great story. In typical Kansas City fashion, they planned this wonderful program. It was scheduled for January of 1993. And the night before the event, a terrible blizzard hit the city. Whole city was shut down. The people at the foundation called Mr. K and said, we're sorry, we're going to have to cancel that fast track program that you had in mind. And he said, absolutely not. If even one person comes, then it will have been worth it. I promised this to the people of Kansas City. And they said, well, not one person is going to show up. And it turns out they were right. Not one person showed up, and instead 900 people showed up. 900. And so he felt vindicated. He said, indeed, people are looking for training, education, information to help put themselves back to work and to be entrepreneurs. Now, today, what we say FastTrac is basically, it opens a portal to an entrepreneurial ecosystem for existing business owners and would-be business owners. And I like to say before, during, and after the startup process. And we do that really through a series of content that we license to third parties, and they deliver courseware based on a methodology that we've proven over these last couple of decades that really does help people to put a framework around a business idea and to get that business up and running.
When you say you license it, in about how many different areas of this area, country and Kansas City are the? It
is absolutely worldwide. Here in Kansas City alone, we have at least 5 active affiliates. Worldwide, we have about 300 affiliates, and in fact, we offer the course online through several partners, including Kaplan University, which offers an online asynchronous course. We're also now in 10 countries throughout Europe. We're in Asia, we're in South America, and in Canada. So it's been a very exciting time for FastTrac.
The online program you're talking about, when I went through the FastTrac program, one of the things that I found very useful was the interaction with the other participants.
Absolutely.
We were broken up into teams.
Mm-hmm.
On the online, do you lose a lot of that, or do they make up for it in other ways?
It's an excellent observation. I will tell you, I too am a FastTrac graduate, and as you described, I found that the classroom-based interaction was probably the best part of FastTrac. You know, creating a business in terms of a framework or information, it's not that complicated. You can go to Google and get a free template for how to do that. What FastTrac does, and what I say is the magic of the classroom, is that you are interacting with people. You create essentially an ad hoc advisory board of your colleagues sitting in the classroom with you. You get access to other experts, subject matter experts, as well as guest speakers, other people who have gone into business for themselves. And I think that that is something that's very special that cannot be replicated in an online environment. So indeed, I do think something could be lost in that online world. What I've been advocating for lately is some sort of blended learning approach. You know, many of us, we don't have the time. We're perhaps working during the day or seeking other types of opportunities. And so our business ideas sometimes suffer for that. And so finding the time to go and sit in a classroom can sometimes be daunting. I think it's some of the best time that is well spent. So I can argue that all day long. But the reality of our times is that people don't always want to step into the classroom. And so I believe that a blended learning approach can actually help that. There's some classroom time as well as some online time where the participant can actually think about some of the exercises or go about listening to subject matter experts really during their own time.
You said that the first one was a one-day course.
Yes.
And I know when I went through it, it was about 4 weeks, and it was very intensive.
Indeed.
So what is the normal amount of time someone would have to invest into this?
What I say, and it's a bit of a complicated question. In terms of classroom time, it's approximately a 30-hour course. Now, you will find across the world that may vary. Some do it in a few more hours, some do it in a few less, but the most traditional approach to delivering FastTrac is an in-person, classroom-based 30 hours that is traditionally delivered over 10 consecutive weeks. So what typically happens, and when I deliver FastTrac myself, I run it over 10 consecutive weeks, typically say on a Wednesday night from about 6 to 9 p.m. in the evening. And what that does is it allows people to do what they do during the day, but then to step into their business mindset in terms of creating their own endeavor in the evenings. And so that seems to work well. You will find, though, that there are some courses that are compressed. I will tell you again, sort of as a focus group of one, when I took FastTrac, I did it, again, in 30 hours, but it was 6 5-hour sessions held over 3 weeks.
And there's a lot of homework to do with this.
Indeed. So when you ask how much time should a person plan to commit, it's 30 hours of classroom time, but at least that much time additionally outside of the classroom. You know, the homework, I like to say, is starting a company. So, you know, it's not going to be graded except by the market. And so people must commit the time and the resources and use their passion to really get engaged in the coursework.
And that's one of the things that I did find, that all of this classroom work and all of the homework, nothing of this is put aside, and it all is directed and focused on that business idea that
That's
you
right.
have. So none of it is extraneous.
That's right. I mean, when a person comes to FastTrac, they must come with their own business idea. They must focus on creating their business. And frankly, I say that there are 3 appropriate outcomes to any FastTrac course. One is that you go in with a business idea and you leave and you start that business. You may have iterated on it during the course, but in fact, you start the business that you originally had in mind. In a second case, somebody may go in with a business idea and realize during the course that the business is not commercially viable. And so instead of starting that business, they may switch and do another business. But they now have a life skill that they can use, whether it's for this business or 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses down the road. They have the information and the tools necessary to get that business started. Now, there actually is a third appropriate outcome, and it's a very viable one, and it's an important one that shouldn't be missed. And that is that you go into a FastTrac course and you realize that you're not an entrepreneur. For whatever reason, whether it's risk tolerance, the lack of viability for your business idea, whatever the reason, you still leave with a life skill, information that you can now use for somebody else's company to be what I call entrepreneurial, to work on behalf of another existing company to help that company have more of an entrepreneurial spirit, a spirit of innovation.
So this isn't make-believe. This is real-time,
This is real.
life.
This is
work.
real. And, you know, in fact, it's interesting, again, using myself as the example. When I took FastTrac, I did it to start my own consulting firm. And, in fact, I started that firm and had great success during the time that I was running that firm. As serendipity would have it, I found myself at FastTrac itself. And really where I found myself was at the Kauffman Foundation. As I initially mentioned to you, FastTrac was started really as a philanthropic program of the Kauffman Foundation, and the foundation ran FastTrac for about 17 years on its own. I actually joined the foundation as a consultant to look at the concept of potentially spinning FastTrac out as a standalone entity, which I did in April of 2010. So we actually spun FastTrac out. It is a standalone, self-sustaining organization at this point. That was in April of 2010. And I will tell you, the reason for it was we felt like we needed to walk the talk. We were helping other people to start and create and grow their own businesses. We needed to show that our methodology and methods would work for ourselves.
One of the things you said that really struck a chord with me was when you talked about the people that found out they weren't entrepreneurs.
Yes.
I know in the class I was in, a small percentage, or a smaller percentage of class decided to go forward with their ideas. The people that did not were saving thousands of dollars that they would have spent before they found this out for themselves without this training.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And we find that that happens typically. I will tell you, in any, we have several different courses. Our most popular course and the course that appeals really to the masses is called FastTrac New Venture. It is for anybody with an idea. Any business can really fit into the context of FastTrac New Venture. And I will tell you that from a typical FastTrac New Venture course, we see about 30% of the participants actually leave and start their business. An additional percentage thinks that they may start that business later. Another group says, I'm not going to start this business, but I'll start another one. And then as you described, there are others who say, you know what, entrepreneurship is not for me, but I'm going to go help somebody else to be successful.
So is FastTrac only for startup companies?
It is not. So as I mentioned, FastTrac New Venture really is for the startup.
Okay.
We have a second one that is for startups called FastTrac Tech Venture. It is for both startups and early stage technology and science-based companies. And what I mean by that is not necessarily the internet startup, which is clearly very popular today. This is really for technological discoveries, for medical devices, pharmaceuticals, what have you, things that require intense research and development, where there's a true question of intellectual property protection. There's the question of how to raise money for a technology-based company, which can sometimes be different. So those are really our two for the startup. We have a third course, though, which is called FastTrac Growth Venture. This is for businesses that have already had some measure of success. I like to say you shouldn't probably consider FastTrac Growth Venture until you have at least a good 2 to 3 years under your belt, where you've seen some success, you have a track record for revenue generation, and you're not looking for business planning assistance, you're looking for strategic planning assistance. What's the next step? How do I take my business and grow it to the next level? And frankly, in some cases, how do I exit this business? We've had people who've taken growth venture after 20, 25, 30 years in business, and they're not looking necessarily for strategic planning. They're looking about how do I exit gracefully? What's the next step for me personally? How do I transition this business to its next owner or CEO? And so we see that growth venture can really assist people with that process.
New Landing's Job Chat will be back right after a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is William Easley, Managing Director of Wealth Management with Prosperity Advisory Group. A job loss is an unsettling experience that almost always challenges finances and lifestyle. Important decisions need to be made immediately that work toward protecting financial security, which include making significant adjustments to day-to-day spending habits. The obvious catch is how to make ends meet on less income. If you should find yourself and your family in this situation, you should begin by itemizing all of your current expenses, no matter how small, and assigning them as either fixed or discretionary. Examples of fixed expenses are mortgage payments or health insurance premiums. Discretionary expenses would include entertainment costs or that weekly dinner out at your favorite restaurant. The key is to eliminate as many of your discretionary expenses as possible and reduce your fixed expenses if able. More importantly, don't postpone these decisions even if you receive a generous severance package. You must tackle them right away. Your ability to maintain a wide array of financial options may depend on a proactive rather than a reactive approach to budgeting so that you can protect your other financial goals like retirement and the assets earmarked for them. Again, I'm William Easley with Prosperity Advisory Group. the next step in your financial future.
One of the things that you said in the beginning was about the climate or the economic climate at the time that this all started. And we find ourselves in a similar climate today, economically. So it would be a good time for people to get involved?
You know, what the Kauffman Foundation research has shown is that entrepreneurial activity is at its highest level in the last 15 years. So we're seeing that because of the economy, people are feeling compelled to actually start their own companies, to create their own jobs. And so in some cases, it's a matter of necessity. They're not finding what they want in the open job market, and so they're saying, you know what, I can do this for myself. And in fact, you're seeing that with particular groups of people. What we've found is that the preponderance of baby boomers coming to take FastTrac courses has increased. What we're discovering is that people who thought that they could retire on the nest egg they thought they were amassing over the course of their career, it ain't going to cut it. It's not going to last much longer. And so rather than go to work for someone else, they find that, you know, I've been sleeping on an idea for many years, or in fact, it turns out I'm not quite ready to retire. And so instead of retiring and instead of going to work for somebody else's company, they're starting their own companies and finding great success.
Let's talk about success. What proof can you present to us of the FastTrac success?
Well, what we're finding is, as I mentioned, about 30% of our participants are actually starting new companies. About 56% of the people who take FastTrac Growth Venture are saying that within 6 months of leaving the course, they're seeing an increase in revenues. And so what we think is that we're helping people to focus, we're helping people to get companies off the ground, and we think that we're moving the economy forward because we're helping people to create jobs, not only for our country, but really across the world. And the relevance that the FastTrac coursework has is finding its way into multiple cultures.
When people are coming to FastTrac or thinking about FastTrac, is there any checklist or something that they should go through mentally and say, this will be good for me because I have a passion for this, or are there other things that they should be thinking about?
You know, I would say that rather than have a formal checklist, I have people sort of check their gut. It's, you know, what is your passion? What do you have in mind? What's your risk tolerance? What's your timing? And so there's sort of a mental checklist of sorts where people need to think through, what is my ability to see this through? And when will I say, you know, this is not going to work and I need to move on and consider whatever my endeavor is either successful and off the ground or a sunk cost and I need to move on. So I would say there's not a formal checklist that I would provide to someone, but I definitely say you need to check your own what you're thinking about. You need to make sure that you believe in your idea, you have enough passion for it. And by the way, one thing that cannot be overlooked is who is your support network? Who's around you? And do they support your efforts? Are they bought in? So whether that's a spouse, a significant other, a child in some cases, a parent, whoever it is, it could be a friend, somebody to go through this with you. I always suggest entrepreneurs, don't do this alone. You know, multiple minds are better than one. You may not bring in people to actually help you run the company. You may not bring in investors, but you have to have a support network beside you to help do that gut check, to help make sure that you're really thinking through the contingency planning that's required as you become an entrepreneur.
And that support group, or could be family, that you're going to be taking time and money away from
That's
to
right.
be able to do this venture.
That's exactly right.
So if you don't have their buy-in, it could make for a very bad time at home.
That's exactly right. Absolutely. So I think it's important that you share your plans with whoever that support person or people might be. You have to be able to share, these are my plans, these are my concerns, here's what I'm really excited about. Help me find this other information out, because that will help me in my decision making.
And with the FastTrac program, you said going to the class and talking with other wannabe entrepreneurs is a very valuable part of the program. So
Yes.
that would support that cheerleading part of it, I guess.
Absolutely. You know, I'll tell you, when I took FastTrac, my very favorite exercise was the concept development exercise, because I had in mind an idea that I thought was so obvious, so crystal clear, and then when I went to speak it out to my peers, they said, I sort of understand, but I don't quite understand. What do you mean? And so it really forced me to think through how would I articulate this so that everybody can understand what it is that I have in mind, and that really helped me. And they told me that they were confused because they wanted to see me succeed, and in converse, I wanted to see them succeed as well. So I too was willing to serve, as I said, as an ad hoc advisory board member to them. And I'll tell you, people from my FastTrac class, we keep in touch with one another. We find that across the world, people really do find friendships, they find kind of peer advisors and mentors among their FastTrac cohort.
And sometimes partners.
Absolutely. In fact, we've seen that too, where people, in some cases, people each come in with a separate idea. They meet during a FastTrac course, and they scrap both ideas and go for a third idea together. And I think that's some of the most exciting outcome, is when people really do find that they're able to create business together.
Now, you talked about the growth of businesses. How about the growth of FastTrac? Is this something that you are constantly tweaking, developing, and growing?
Absolutely. We are continuously developing our content, not only keeping our core content up to date, but expanding our content. So as an example, we're currently working on a content supplement specifically targeted to female entrepreneurs. What we discovered is that in a very stereotypical sort of way, there are particular topics that really elude women. Now, these are topics that are of importance to men as well, so it's not showing gender bias, but what we're discovering is that women struggle with these things. There are topics like negotiation skills, like fundraising, like building a personal professional network, etc. And so another topic that is coming out is, for example, building a board. Women tend not to build a board because they don't want anybody telling them what to do. That's what through research and through conversation, that's what we've discovered. So when you ask about building out supplemental content or additional content, those are the kinds of things we're doing. We also have a very exciting initiative going on right now that is targeted to our U.S. military veterans. So FastTrac was the very proud recipient of a wonderful grant from Accenture, which is helping us to create not just supplemental content, much in the same way that we're creating the content for women, but supplemental content that will speak specifically to military veterans, to encourage them to utilize the leadership skills, the teaming skills that they developed in the military to benefit them as they start companies of their own. So in 2012, we will actually train approximately 300 veteran entrepreneurs as a result of this grant.
Great.
Well, all this development, instructor time, materials used,
Yes.
because you have some wonderful books that you use during the class, all of this costs money. How does one sign up, and how much does it cost them for this program?
The cost actually varies. It varies from what I call affiliate to affiliate. So depending on the organization that delivers FastTrac, their pricing may change. Now I'll tell you the base price for taking a FastTrac New Venture course is approximately $700.
Okay.
For FastTrac Growth Venture, it's approximately $800. And for FastTrac Tech Venture, it varies from about $900 to $1,000 per person. I will tell you this is a great value. What people get access to is not just the course time, but the manual. And they also get access to fasttrac.org. It's a private portal where people get access to frameworks, tools, information. And I know for myself, when I left FastTrac and started my consulting business, one of my very first clients asked me to write a business plan. And so rather than reinvent the wheel, I went directly to the fasttrac.org portal. I had my manual open in my lap, and I was using the templates that were available through fasttrac.org to benefit my business. So I would say that it is some of the best investment that a person will ever make, especially in terms of developing their entrepreneurial future. To sign up for a course and to find courses in a person's geographic area, I would recommend going to fasttrac.org, and that's fasttrac.org, O-R-G. And there they can enter a location finder with either a zip code or a city and state or country and find FastTrac courses that are taking place in their area.
And when you go back to the cost, you're going to have to spend money to open a business anyway.
That's right.
But if you're spending money that is going to help you learn more, do it the right way, or maybe not spend money to start a business, then it's money well spent.
That's absolutely right.
Well, we want to thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for allowing us on your track. And if someone wanted to contact you or your organization for further information, where could they reach you?
They can reach us at info@fasttrac.org, and I hope to hear from many people.
Well, Alana, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And of course, keep in mind that all of our job chats are available to you on our website, newlandingsjobchat.org.
As always, until next time, may your days be full of health, happiness, and success.